Hey there, it's Collins here. Welcome to mylifestyleshow.tv. It's awesome to have you here today. I've got a fantastic host and special guest here, all the way from Jersey in the US. But just a reminder for those people that haven't been on the show before, this is basically a live show. It's an interview based, so you're welcome to ask questions, get your questions answered while we have a specialist on the call. But remember, it's also just to provide you with the vision and motivation for especially highly successful women entrepreneurs to create a change and fast track their success to creating a true lifestyle business full of time and financial freedom. And my ideal for the show is to try and interview people that have incorporated or teach or show women in business how to create a successful business around their life, not the other way around. So it means that you get to do the things that you love, because we know you do great stuff, especially as women entrepreneurs. So I've got an awesome guest today, Kelly Lynn Adams. Shall I say that again? Get it all out in one go. Kelly Lynn Adams, all the way from Jersey in the US. Now, Kelly is a business expert. She's a motivational speaker, highly successful author. One of her books is the Little Pink Book Manifesto, which is all about 10 powerful tools that will transform your life and your business. But the thing that I really connected with Kelly on was her, she's also the creator of the After 5 Club. And it kind of got me thinking, remembering what the transition was like, going from a very, very demanding corporate job to creating my own entrepreneurial journey. And I know Kelly does this highly successful, and she's shown many women entrepreneurs how to make that transition. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is how to think bigger, kind of really step into what you want to do, maybe balancing some of that transition out of the 9 to 5, we call it. And we're going to go into, obviously, whatever Kelly wants to share about her journey and her story. So welcome, Kelly. If you want to share a little bit about your background first, because you've got a huge background. I was going to share some of it, but I think you should just tell your story, really. So welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, actually. So yeah, I'll dive in kind of to my story for those of you who do not know me. So my background is, I went to school for finance and business. And, I really have been in the corporate world ever since, and worked for so many amazing companies like investment banking, a lot of the well-known like DKNY, Gucci, Liz Claiborne. So a lot of like the big top companies. And right out of school, I worked on Wall Street in New York City. And, I loved that experience, but it just wasn't me. Like, it wasn't my passion. It wasn't like what I really wanted to do. So I kind of like honed in, and I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, do something on my own, but I didn't know what that was. All I knew is that I went to school, I loved business, and I wanted to make a lot of money. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm going to try Wall Street. So hated it. And then pretty much quit without even another job in line. So that wasn't very smart. But then I was like, what do I like? And I really had a passion for fashion. So I was the girl who was buying shoes every week, handbags. I know some of you aren't like that, but that was kind of my, my love, right? So I fast forward, I applied to fashion companies. So I basically landed a job in New York City working for like the biggest fashion company. And, I basically kind of climbed the corporate ladder. And, but I still knew there was something in me that I wanted to do on my own. So my first business was selling skincare in a network marketing company. And, I built a team of women. I was motivating them, and it was great. Like, I built a very successful business. And basically how I kind of wound up in like this coaching, motivational speaking world is one of my clients said, wow, you're really good at this. You should become a life coach. And at the time I was like, what the heck is a life coach? Like, coaching wasn't, as big as it is today and getting bigger. And so she's like, oh my gosh, it's what you're doing now. You're helping people like achieve their dreams and what they want. So, and at that point, actually, so let me go back. I was kind of in a bad space. I was $45,000 in debt. I was, buying shoes every week, like not even knowing how much money I was spending or what was coming in. I kind of hit like a low point. I was dating all the wrong guys. It was, I would say 30 or 40 pounds overweight. Like, it was just like because they say like once one thing is connected in your life, really it affects everything. So I was kind of really at a low. But from the outside, you know, I was driving the Mercedes Benz. I had the great job in New York in the fashion industry. You know, I was put together. I looked great, you know, on paper. And from the outside, but internally, I was kind of like, like I was not happy. I was seeking happiness in all the wrong places, in the shoes, in the handbags, in the guys, and, you know, in these material things, in the food, you know, so, and it just wasn't it. So I kind of hit a low bottom. And that's when I kind of started to do the work on myself and go internal, because I feel like, you know, we all want these things, right? We all have these dreams and desires. But it's really, it's not the actual thing that we want. It's always like the feeling associated with that thing that we want. So say if you want to make a lot of money, you want to be, you know, 6-7 figures in whatever you want to do. It's not, yes, it's the money we want, but it's the feeling that the money gives us. So maybe we want freedom, maybe we want flexibility, maybe we want stability. So that's kind of what I learned. That was my big aha moment. So I really did the work, and I did crazy stuff. Like I walked on fire. You know, I chanted in like, you know, crazy, like, you know, churches. I just did the crazy stuff to really like, I don't know. I just pushed myself, you know, it was more mindset stuff. So then basically that's when I joined the network marketing company, started something of my own, built the skincare business. And then I kind of fell into coaching. I went actually, I looked into this, like, what's a life coach? So I went back to school, got my certification, and built my business. Like it just kind of snowballed. It was awesome. I built my coaching business, actually giving like 50 free sessions to people that I knew, and started that. And, you know, my whole vision of the After 5 Club is there's so many women out there that are still in corporate, as we say, the 9 to 5, or that are working, you know, maybe they're babysitting, or maybe they have these odds and ends jobs, but they want to do something of their own because they want the freedom, because they want the, you know, financial freedom, and just really, you know, they have a passion, but they want to monetize as well, you know, and they want to create their own life. You know, they might have children and they want to spend more time with them, like whatever the reason is. And I truly believe that you can do that. I've mastered this, actually still in corporate, working a very high position. And my business is really successful. So I know how to do this without, you know, burning out. Even though I actually went through a whole, like, couple times burning out. So I want to really teach women, you know, this can be done, but these are kind of the things that we want to avoid, because there are things that you can get stuck in, or, you know, maybe you don't have your exit strategy in place, or, you know, so that's like and my whole mission is like women, and really anyone, can be, do, or have whatever they want in life. If you just, you know, focus, you be persistent about it, and you have the right mindset. So that's my story in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, what a journey.
Yeah.
And it is, like you said, it's a really common story, isn't it? Where you hear, especially with, you know, like you said, trying to keep up with the success of what you're doing, or, and I think with women, especially, like you said, we do find other ways to find happiness. You know, it is, like you said, you got a shopping addiction, or like you said, it's food, and, you know, whatever it is, it's like you said, there's normally an underlying feeling of what you want out of it. So that's amazing. With your kind of, what's one of the biggest blocks? I think, like you were sort of saying, a lot of women entrepreneurs seem to have all this passion, corporate, they have all the passion, they want to do it. What do you think is one of the biggest blocks that stops women taking that step out of corporate into their own?
Yeah, I think the biggest blocks that I see is really it comes down to the core of like not feeling good enough, or not being worthy enough, or can I really do this? And it all, you know, it's all the same thing. Can I really do this? If I do this, am I going to fail? If I do hit a certain point of success, will I be able to maintain it? So but all of those core reasons are kind of go back to the whole I'm not good enough worthiness conversation. And I think that, you know, it's funny because a lot of the people that I coach, I hear it all the time. It's like, you know, I just have this fear, or I feel like I'm going to mess up, or I'm going to get rejected, and then I ask them, okay, think of when you were younger. You know, when we were younger as kids, we just did it, or teenagers, we just did it. Like, you know, we wanted to date someone. We just asked them, but not as easy, but like fear wasn't really as big. I feel like as we grow older, the more fear we take on. And it's because, you know, maybe we have this fear of failure, or, you know, so I think that's really prevalent. And I tell my clients all the time, you know, think back when at a point in your life when you were unstoppable, you know, you were unstoppable. Like you just did it. You just did it. You didn't care. You just kept going. You had the momentum. And this is the thing, you know, I don't think that I don't believe in failure. You know, yes, if you don't accomplish something, you know, that might be like, oh, I failed. But my whole thing is I believe in feedback. You know, failure is just feedback for you to get the feedback and then course correct or do it a different way. There's no, you know, you can't fail. You know, it's like, well, okay, if this doesn't work, then I'm going to do this, you know. So that's, I think people, as we get older, we take on this fear, you know. So I think we get comfortable. We don't like change, you know, all of that. But when we were younger, we just like were unstoppable.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And it is like you said, I don't know, as you get older, I think for me, I think I hear a lot of it when I talk to women entrepreneurs. It's the security side. It's, you know, they've either got bigger commitments. And I think that's the one big thing that puts the fear around them. You know, suddenly they've either got commitments of a mortgage or commitments of family. But they build that up so much that it stops them actually doing what you love. It's like you said, instead of thinking, okay, and I know you're going to hopefully, I was reading about what you were doing with this, so I picked up on this around like having an exit strategy, because I think if women can plan it a bit more and understand it, I think they see so many people just quit and go and do stuff. But it's like, I think an easier transition, you can actually then see, I guess, steps to protecting your security. You know, and I think if you can do that, then maybe it might help break that fear factor a bit more.
Yeah, and I would say there's 3 things to do, you know, really when you're in this kind of, oh my gosh, like fearful, because we do, like we either have mortgage or rent, or, you know, we have kids, we have responsibilities, like there's a lot, right? And it's a lot on our plates. Like, so definitely what you said, the number one is I always recommend my clients, you know, build an exit strategy plan. So if it's not like, okay, because some people don't want to leave corporate, they just want to make some money, you know, at what they love to do. So either or, even if you're in that situation and you don't want to get out of your 9 to 5, or you want to be out of your 9 to 5 like yesterday, there's power and motivation and empowerment in building this, you know, exit strategy plan. Like, what do you need to do? What needs to be in place? It's kind of like tracking your finances, right? Like when you do your bills or you get grounded, you sit down with your money, track what's coming in, track what's going out. You feel more grounded. You're like, okay, I know where I'm at. So I think creating an exit strategy plan and whatever that is for you, you know, it could be 2 years out of corporate, or it could be 6 months. Like it really has to do with what is your, you know, what can you live on, you know, all of those questions. So creating that, and what I tell people is reverse engineer it. So, you know, have your end mind and goal and then work backwards. And then the second thing I always tell people, and this is where I think it has to be done. Every day, it should be a non-negotiable that you're plugging in either 15 minutes, 30 minutes into your self-development. So it's like, okay, maybe get on YouTube and listen to some like self-empowerment videos or talks or something that's going to make you grow and keep your mindset in the right place. Because it's kind of like your mindset. Not a lot of people talk about it, but it's the foundation of your success. So it's like, you know, how we take a shower every day, how we brush our teeth every day. The whole mindset, we have to basically, you know, really cultivate the mindset because it's so critical, and it can either make you or break you. And the third thing I would say to people is like, it's balance. You know, it's really, and women especially, we do not give to ourselves as much as we should. So we're running and we're taking care of everyone else's needs, whether it's someone, you know, whether it's our bosses, whether it's our children, or, you know, our spouse, our friends, our family. But we gotta help ourselves first before we help anyone else. Because if we don't, you know, we're our own best asset. So we have to put self-care in there. And what I tell my clients and my tribe is, you know, create a self-love power hour. You know, and some of that self-development can be included in that self-love power hour. So whatever you love to do, you know, that's a non-negotiable too. Like do that every single day and you'll definitely, you know, feel some sort of shift.
That's really awesome. Yeah, I mean, I was at a conference on the weekend called the One Woman Conference, and again, it was like 150 roughly women entrepreneurs in the room, and the energy was amazing. But there was 2 things that really come out of it. One was, like you said, one of their biggest blocks was definitely self-worth. So that was everywhere. And like some of these girls have had successful businesses, you know, they were already running really good businesses, and yet self-worth was the key thing that come up over that whole event. And then the second one was balance. It's like you said, especially with women, I think, and I know you've been in corporate, you've been burnt out. That's what a lot of this conference is about. And because we get into our adrenaline mode, we get into the male mode instead of the female soft energy. And it's all about reducing those levels. So they have what they call a play hour. So it's exactly the same thing. It's do something for play each week. And ideally, at least daily on a smaller dose. That really gives you that soft feminine power. So, you know, whether that for you is having a massage, whether it's just going for a walk in the park, or, you know, just having a glass of wine with a good girly friend, but something that gets you back into your female energy to stop that kind of adrenaline rush and to kind of burnout. So yeah, that's crucial. But I love that. Yeah, I wish I'd created a proper exit strategy. Mine was I quit. I'm sick of this. I've definitely done it the hard way. And it does make it harder. It is harder to do because you end up operating out of fear because you have to make an income. And so it's taking me, I think, longer to find my feet, find what I love, because I was too scared to do what I love. Because I was like, oh, no, I've got to make money, got to get that income, got to pay my bills. And so, yeah, I think finding your true passion really does, if you can have either an exit strategy in place and some sort of security, much easier than quitting your job like I did.
Yeah, but I think it's a conversation too. I know, like, you know, I see it a lot on social media. It's like, well, there's this kind of shame associated with that. It's like, okay, well, you know, I'm not a full-time entrepreneur, but, you know, and there's a shame of like still having a job while you're trying to build this business. And there shouldn't be shame around it. You know, I have for years, I was like, you know, all my friends were full-time entrepreneurs and whatever, like they were struggling. They didn't have money to like have health insurance. I mean, they were, and to me, it's like, it comes down to your values. Like my top values are, I really love safety. I love security, and I love like not struggling. Because as a child, me and my family struggled so much. So I, you know, made it a point to say, okay, I'm not going to struggle, like, you know, with money, even though I have had my struggles, obviously. But to me, it was like, you know what, if I can hold down this job and then build my business, you know, and there's no like safe way, right? Things happen, life happens. But I didn't want to struggle like my friends where they were like, yeah, like I get to do whatever I want and build this fantastic business, but they were struggling. But so I just want to say there's no shame and there's no like, you're not good enough because you're not a full-time entrepreneur yet. You know, it's like, look at Sarah Blakely she built Spanx, you know, the undergarment, you know, she built it while she was in her in a job. She built that business, and look at her now. I mean, there's tons of people that have built successful businesses while they're still working, and there's no shame around it. There shouldn't be any shame. You know, it all comes down to your preference. And then there's some people like you know, they take that big leap and it all works out. I think it's based on your values and what you need or want at the time. So I'm not telling one situation is better than the other. No, I think it just boils down to individual needs. And as far as balance, you know, I want to tell this story of just last year, it was crazy. I've had these kind of love-hate relationships with self-love, and I teach this stuff. So I should be like, okay, like I have this down, but no, it like, you know, hear that saying, the universe gives you what you really need to master. So last year, you know, there was a time in my corporate business where, you know, there's ebbs and flows. There's busier times than others. And I was working 80 hours a week at my corporate job, just at my corporate job. And then I would come home and build my business. So I was literally eating, sleeping, and working. Okay. I was not having fun. I was not really getting, I don't even know if I was getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep. I definitely wasn't. But so I was, and this was only for 30 days. And I'm like, you know what, I can do anything for 30 days. It's fine. Like I got this, you know, and I was so in my masculine, like go energy, you know, female energy. It wasn't even, you know, I just had to get it done. I had to get through this month in my corporate job. I had to, you know, not let my business, you know, kind of suffer. So at the end of the month, not even at the end of the month, probably like midway through, I actually went to the hospital. I was totally burnt out. And they said it was from exhaustion. So it's like, okay, like, you know, that was a huge lesson for me because, you know, I should know this stuff. And that's why I want to kind of, to the viewers out there, even if you know all of this stuff, It's like, how much are you actually putting it into practice? How much are you actually doing? Because we can know all this stuff. You know, you hear self-love and balance and how to build a business all the time, but it's like, what are you actually doing to, you know, put that into action? So that was my big wake up call of being like, you know what, like my body, my health is the most important thing than work. You know, if you don't have your health and your sanity and your mindset and you're not feeling good, you really can't be, you know, service to anyone, like I said. So that really, you know, made me bring a huge aha, you know, to my world, my business. And, you know, it can happen. So, and it's not to scare you, but it's like, you know, you might be running at 101 miles an hour. It will catch up to you, whether it's a week from now, whether it's, you know, a couple of months from now, whether it's years from now, you know, take care of you. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's really, really powerful. And I know I slipped into the same routine last year because I was doing the same. I was working a high-powered corporate sales job, you know, and then coming home and working on my business 2 or 3 hours. So I wasn't exercising. I couldn't remember when I was exercising at all. You know, literally, it was everything was driven. I gave up half my social life. I was like, what am I doing? Like, and I'm a social person, so I wasn't even replenishing my energy, getting out there with people that I love being around. So, and that for me was a massive thing. Whereas this year, no two ways about it. So I got back swimming again, and yeah, it's like you said, you got to revalue back onto being healthy again. It is such a powerful, and women get burnt out so easily like that. So you got to listen to your body and create it. So I love that. Really, really powerful. So in relation to kind of, obviously you do a lot with people that I guess have their dream. You know, they might have a vision of what they want to do. Can you share kind of 1 or 2 things of how they might start to go about creating something, or what ways do you kind of get starting to, if I've got a bit of a vision or I want to create my passion or do something around building it into a business? Is there something you can share around kind of how they could get started, or what's the first steps they might take?
Yeah, so I would say for the people that do have a vision and know exactly what they want to do, is to really write down what I call a why list. So it can be anywhere from like 25 reasons to 100 reasons why you want to do this, this thing or create this business. And this is really, it helps you because it gets you kind of dreaming again, right? Because as you know, as adults, we kind of stop dreaming. We get very caught up in the mundane day to day. I have to go to the gym. I have to work out. We have this like whole life, and we don't really visualize or we don't dream. So it's like as a kid, we would, you know, we had imaginary friends. We, you know, we were like, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a firefighter. You know, like we had all of these huge dreams. And as, you know, as adults, we're like kind of in the mundane. So that's what I really first tell people, if they really, you know, if they know exactly what they want to do, it's like, or even if they don't, like start dreaming again. Like, why do you want financial freedom? What would it give you? You know, if you want to create this business, why do you want to create it? Do you want to, you know, go on 2 vacations a year with your family? And a lot of the reasons do come down to monetary reasons. So you might have 25 reasons all to do with, you know, monetary. You want to buy maybe your mom a house or your dad a house, or you want to have enough income to do whatever you want, whenever you want. You know, a lot of that comes down to money. But then I want you to ask like a deeper reason. So if you had all the money in the world, you're making, you know, $1 million, say a month, even like some crazy number, why would you still do it? You know, would you still do it? And this comes down to really like creating a legacy, or what do you want people to know you for? Or, you know, not to be morbid, but at your funeral, you know, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to leave a legacy? Do you want to, you know, leave something for your children? How do you want them to remember you or your family? So it's questions like that really get you kind of motivated. And what this why list does, it makes you start to dream again, but it also kind of motivates you. So when you are building this business and this dream, it's kind of your motivator, right? So you're going to have people that are telling you, oh, you can't do this, you're crazy. But you're going to take out your list. And then when you don't want to work, you're going to look at this list again. So keep this list handy, but I think this is really kind of your motivator to get things done. And then the second tip I would tell people is we're constantly in our heads, right? So to do like just a huge brain dump, right, of all of it, even if you have a business and you know exactly what you want to do, or maybe you want to create a different product or a different service or something, create a whole brainless dump of things that you love. things that you love to do, things that you're really good at, your strengths and weaknesses, and anything that you can think of that's in your head, like, oh, I have to get this done, that done, and just like really free write for a couple minutes, because that's just getting everything in your head out onto paper. And then what you're going to do with this list, if you are creating, if you want to create a business or a new product or service, you're going to kind of get more specific, like chunk it out, or, build a time frame around it. So this really helps me when I have just so many ideas in my head, or I want to become more creative, just getting all my thoughts onto paper. So that really kind of alleviates kind of the anxiety that we keep, like when we're thinking about things. So those are like really the two top tips of kind of in the beginning stages of doing that. And not even beginning, if you have a business, like I said, I do my why list every 90 days to keep myself motivated, because your why is going to change. Your why is going to change. And some of you might be accomplishing your whys right now. So it's like, okay, you have to develop more whys, more reasons why you want this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that why list concept, because it is true. And like you said, especially going deeper, I think that's really powerful, because, we might start, and I think especially as, like you said, you grow your business and you start to achieve some of your goals. It's like you said, quite often you do it initially to start to create an income for specific things, but then you start to go, okay, what else do I really want to do? And I did a really good exercise with Commerza recently. We got taught to think about our total, like you said, legacy end picture. What would it look like, and work the finances back. And I worked out back my hourly rate was like $1,000 an hour, and now everything's created around this massive big vision of what I really, really want to do, and what legacy do I want to leave. How many lives do I want to change? And it got me thinking about charities I hadn't even thought about. What would I do with my time if you didn't have to wake up every day and work? It was like, oh cool, what would I actually really do? And I especially love this around women entrepreneurs, and this is why I'm so passionate about sharing stories around, creating lifestyle businesses and businesses that frees up people's time, using the internet and leverage and different business models, because I know, especially women entrepreneurs, we give so much back. We'll give back to the community, back to our families, back to charities, whatever. We're always doing bigger things with our time. And that's why I really get passionate about what I'm kind of doing as well. So yeah, that taps right into that. So I love that exercise. And brain dump. I was a big struggler with that, getting out of my head and back into my heart and what I really felt. So absolutely awesome. And so what about more about so if I'm struggling in 9 to 5 and I don't know what I want to do, is that, I suppose you'd probably recommend a similar thing, wouldn't you, really? Because that was one of my things. I didn't want to transition I was in corporate sales for 10 years, and I didn't want to train people in sales, or I didn't want to become a sales coach. So for me, I had to completely kind of retrain. So what would you do if someone doesn't know what they want to do?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think because there's a lot of people like right in the 9 to 5, and they're doing something like they're like, I never want to do that again, because they're so kind of burnt out from it, right?
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to do, right? You hated it, so why would you be a sales coach?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even though I have to sell, because everyone has to sell, right. But it was like, yeah, I'd never wanted to be in that hardcore sales environment anymore. Yeah, I just had enough.
Yeah. So what I tell people is really like go explore. It's funny, when I was writing my book proposal, my book coach told me, to get more creative and to think about different things and get out of the box. She's like, what do you like to do for fun? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know anymore, because I wasn't taking the time to be fun or creative. So she's like, okay. She's like, this is what I want you to do. Every weekend, take a day or even take the whole weekend and explore different things to figure out, what you like to do for fun, So she's like, maybe you want to sit in the park one day and just observe people, or maybe you want to take a pottery class, or maybe you want to do burlesque dancing, So really take a day or a weekend or, any of your free time to really do things, like maybe join a book club, or maybe, so it's really getting out of your kind of comfort zone. And even tapping in, this is what I tell people, tapping into what did you love as a kid? I know for me, it's like, I just remember this vision of me setting up my animals on the couch when I was really young and talking to them and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, that's so crazy. So that I could either be a teacher,
I have to ask, was that with your imaginary friend as well?
Yeah, exactly. So I would have these animals, stuffed animals. I would line them up and I would act like I was a teacher or motivational speaker. And I was like, wow, I can't believe like, so once she told me about this exercise, I kind of reconnected that. Like, oh my gosh, I used to, and then another thing I used to do is take out, it was so funny. We had this like adding machine. This was like when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 10 years old. We had this adding machine and I would take out like all the groceries like out of the kitchen cabinets and I would like ring them up and see if I could like, I don't know, sell them or increase their prices. Like that's all business related, right? So it's like, what did you like to do as a kid? Like, and maybe it was pottery or painting or something. And even if when you tap into that and get your creative juices flowing, an idea might be, so maybe you love to paint, but maybe you don't want to become a professional painter, but maybe there's a product you can create, or maybe there's like painting classes you want to give. I don't know, something like, so when you start to get creative, it's going to have these, certain ideas are going to just pop into your head. And another thing is so important is when we are having fun, like think about it. I get the craziest ideas when I'm in the shower or when I'm not doing something, like when I'm in a relaxed, fun state, they just like, boom, they come into my head. And that's what really happens is like when you're in this fun state and relaxed state and having fun creative, like there'll be just like crazy ideas coming into your head that you're not pushing them. They're just coming to you. So I would just recommend people like get out of their comfort zone and try some fun things. And it doesn't even have to be hobbies. It could be like hanging out with friends or, something that you love to do, but then also something different to see, what do I like to do, today, not 20 years ago or whatever, like kind of testing it all out.
Yeah, I love that. I do that when I'm dancing. I always come up with these random ideas when I'm dancing. And I'm like, oh, God, I have to get myself a recorder or something when I'm on the dance floor or when I'm out so that I can come back later and just go, blah, 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 blah. Because then I forget them. You got to get them down when you're there. As you get home and you go, oh, what was that bloody good idea I come up with? Maybe they should have waterproof recorders for in the shower and so you can download all your great ideas. Yeah.
Even like, what I tell people is like before you go to bed, I mean, your subconscious is pretty powerful. Your mind is very powerful. So, even asking it like, a couple of nights before you go to bed, like, what creative ideas or what should I be doing with my life, or what's the next step I need to take, or and like keep a paper and pen near your bed. And, you might wake up in the middle of the night or it might come to you first thing in the morning. So like really asking yourself before you go to bed, and you'll be guided to an answer. If you keep asking the universe and God and whoever you believe in, if you keep asking, the answer is going to appear. Now, it might not appear on your timeline, which people get upset about, right? We all want things on our timeline, but we have to be patient.
It's so me. Somebody didn't happen in that minute. It's never going to happen.
Yeah. And it's like, I want to have kids by the time I'm 35, or I want to have $1 million business by the time I'm like 45. It's like, well, yeah, you could have these aspirations and you can absolutely do it. But sometimes, if we don't achieve it, at that time frame that we put on it, we kind of regress and we're like, crap, like now what I'm going to do. But it's really, everything is working out in your highest good. And that's what I want to tell people is like, it might not be on your timeline. For me, it was like, I actually left corporate 2 years ago and I did my business full time. Well, I was divinely guided to this amazing corporate opportunity. And I'm like, I don't want to go back into corporate. But it was so like divinely put in my lap, like everything I asked for, like, it was like, okay, what is this trying to tell me? It could have been like, okay, I'm really making a decision to not be out of corporate, or should I take this? And, so I decided, and we all have choice, right? That's another thing. We think that we don't have choice, but we need to have choice. Even when we think we don't have choice in a 9 to 5, right? We can quit that 9 to 5 tomorrow. We can call out sick. We always have choice, right? We can leave half day, whatever. So I took the road in the what is it, a split in the fork, and I chose to go back into corporate because I really had this passion of, I'm building these businesses while I'm doing my corporate job. There's so many women stuck in this position. How can I make it successful? So I took that job really as like a testing ground of what are these women corporate that want to do something else? What are they struggling with? What am I going to be? I'm really walking my talk. So it's really, and I don't like to teach from anything from books or motivational speakers that I've heard. It's, I really talk and walk my talk, and I'm really teaching everything I teach from my own personal experiences, my successes and my failures.
And that's awesome as well, because I think pride gets in the way as well. Because there was another similar story for one of the girls on the weekend who had come to the event 6 months ago, and she was struggling in her business massively. She was doing lots of internet marketing. You know, she was kind of forcing herself to do this thing because she thought that's what she had to do. Yeah. And actually, when she stood back and actually just asked herself what she really wanted to do, she actually wanted just 2 corporate clients that would give her the part-time income to free up the time that she needed. And literally when she made that decision, within a week, she had both those clients signed up. And that gave her the income, it gave her the what she really loved, it gave her the global, because they're a global consultancy. And now she's doing some other crazy stuff on the side. It's just awesome what she's doing. But it was like you said, she just asked the question of, what do I really want to be doing? And not being scared to admit she was, I think, because sometimes people won't go back to work if they really need to, or because of a fantastic opportunity like that, because of pride, because they think, oh my God, I'm a failure. But it's like you said, things like that, opportunities come in for sometimes reasons, don't they? Yeah. You know, it's the same as taking a job. Sometimes you take a job because it gives you a different skill or a different life experience or different connections, and not being proud to that. So I really respect you for that, because, you know, it helps with your journey, because obviously you can walk the walk and talk the talk at the same time, but you weren't too proud to take that opportunity, you know, and I really value that. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and 2 things with that. It's like, in your current situation, what can you learn to bring into your passion or to bring in your business? Like, I say that every day. Like, what am I learning today that I can, you know, now more than ever, I know how to deal with corporate people, right? So if I want to go and speak to a Facebook or to a Google, or, you know, if I want to do motivational speaking for corporate companies, guess what? I know how to approach them. I know how to deal with their personalities. I know what they're dealing with. I know what kind of budgets they have. Like, so it's like, okay, what in your current situation right now, if you are in a 9-to-5 or you're juggling, you know, you're babysitting or cutting hair, you might not think there's tangible lessons that you can bring into your business, but there are, you know, so what are they, you know, identifying them. And then the second tip is, you know, to what you said, it's like, once you make that decision, and it's kind of like, Tony Robbins says this really good, is, we all have shoulds, right? We should eat better. We should go to the gym. We should, you know, should work out. We should get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. We have all these, we're shoulding all over ourselves, right? But once we turn those shoulds into musts, that's when you make that decision, when you say, okay, no, I'm going to do this, that's when the results happen. I know with me, I've been shoulding, yeah, I should like really start to work out again. I haven't worked out in months, you know, but once I make that should, and I know it's a should, you know, it's not a must for me right now, but I know it's a should. Once I make that a must and move it over, I'm going to be working out, you know, 3-4 times a week, but I just haven't made that should into my must yet. I've had made other things, other shoulds into my must, and I'm like rocking it. You know, like this month, I was like, you know what? I'm not being consistent enough in my business, and I want to get more visible, more out there, create more contact for my clients. And once I move that should into a must, now this month I'm creating, you know, content every single day, you know, for my clients. So it's definitely moving those shoulds into the must, and you'll definitely get whatever you want once you make a decision. That's
a really powerful mindset journey, isn't it? I love that. Yeah. Just simple, turn it around from it should, yeah, because you're never going to do. I don't believe you. If you're sitting there saying you should do something, you're never going to do it because you don't really want to do it. Yeah, but like you said, when you made the decision to do it, you get out there. And I was going to ask you about that because obviously a lot of the work that you do is obviously inspirational, motivational for people. What's 1 or 2 things they can do for mindset work? So like if they are in that kind of self-worth, like I'm not worth it, there's no way I could, and I know I see a lot of the girls talking about this when I couldn't possibly charge that, you know, I couldn't possibly get that sort of money for what I'm, you know, what I'm giving. Or, you know, I don't have I think the other big one I see a lot of is, you know, I don't have the experience yet. Yeah. And yet they've, you know, I was talking to a girl the other day about her business and she's like, oh, I'm, you know, want to start my own business in marketing. I said, oh, so what's your back? 15 years of marketing. And yet she couldn't see she had enough experience to launch her own business at all. I was like, crazy. Hello, you've been doing it for 15 years, but she couldn't see that. Yeah. So what's 1 or 2 things that maybe you can do if you're in that kind of, you know, not chargeable enough? I think it's a really powerful one, or you're just not sure because of your background, or you haven't like done the coaching yet, or how can you break through those?
Yeah. So the one powerful tool that I use for, you know, not thinking you're credible enough, or oh, I have to get this degree, or, you know, all that stuff comes down to self-worth. So what I love to tell people is make an accomplishment list. So this is where you're going to list out every single accomplishment that you ever did, everything that you've ever really was successful for, even since you were like a little kid. So like, did you graduate high school, or did you, you know, like, did you play a sport and were you really good at it? Did you make the honor roll? Did you, you know, anything that you really did good, or like, did you really paint a really pretty picture in, you know, painting class? You know, anything that you've done. So it's really, you know, anything that, you know, did you go to college? Did you get a degree? You know, anything like that. Did you get your first client? So, because what we're going to do with this accomplishment list, it actually, so all those things that you've done in the past and you've done really well and you succeeded at, it kind of brings to mind like, oh crap, you know, I am like really good at certain things. Like when you start to look at all the positive things and everything that you've accomplished up to this point in your life, you're going to be like, it's like a motivational booster. You know, it's like, wow, I really did that. I did a lot in my life. So that's one exercise, is just getting it down on paper and going as far back as you remember as a child of every little thing that you accomplished. You know, did you make the soccer team? Did you make the cheerleading team? Like all of those things. Or maybe like it was a paper that you wrote that you got straight A's on. Whatever it is, just write every single thing down. And then when you start to look at that list in total, you're gonna be like, oh my God, like I can do this. Like if I did all this stuff until now, I can do whatever I want going forward. And then the second point with the whole like money mindset, I think it's more of like a self-worth conversation. But we can't be like, okay, I'm charging X amount, or I'm not charging at all, and I want to start to charge $1,000 an hour, right? There's a disconnect. So if you're not charging at all and you want to start to charge $1,000, or say you're charging a really low amount and you want to charge, say, a really high amount, like $1,000 an hour, there's a disconnect to that. So when you don't feel in alignment with what you're putting out there, it's not going to happen. So this is what I like to tell people. I mean, it's a self-worth conversation, but it's also about bringing your confidence up. So with the whole pricing, sorry, I live like right near New York City, so there's like sirens going on. But so if the whole pricing conversation is, okay, well, what are you charging right now? And where do you feel comfortable charging? And start charging that. Like start charging what you feel aligned with. And even if it's low, even if it's like $50 an hour, but you feel like, you know what, I'm going to start at 50 feels good with me, and then start charging it. And this is the thing. This is when I tell people like, oh, they always ask, when should I raise my prices? And blah, blah, blah. You're going to raise your prices when you start to feel resentment that, you know, your time, you're going to know. You're just going to know. I mean, I started at a really low price when I started out. And then I started like resenting my clients and started resenting like, oh, I'm only charging $50 for an hour. No, like you'll know. So then you'll be like, okay, what feels better now? It's like, you're just going up. Because this is the thing. It's like action creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. So you have to start somewhere. So if you want to say your top goal is $1,000 an hour, well, you got to start somewhere. You know, so start somewhere that feels aligned. And people, and this is the thing, this is so important. It has to feel aligned, because when you're communicating it to people, and if you don't feel confident within that price, people are going to be like, nah, I'm not going to pay for that. So you have to feel confident in, even if it's low in the beginning, charge that, and then start to raise your prices as you feel necessary. So I don't know if that helps, but I think that really helps with building our, you know, the self-worth conversation and the confidence, you know, because you can't, you know, and I see these women, they jump. Some of them jump, you know, like from charging, say, $1,000 an hour, to, I don't know, like $5,000, right, an hour. And they jump, but, you know, they're aligned with it. And don't compare yourself, because maybe they've done work that you haven't yet, you know, so don't compare yourself with others like, well, she did 1,000, I could do 5. But if you're not aligned with it, it's not going to happen. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's really powerful technique for pricing. I've not heard anyone kind of describe it that way. So yeah, because I think, like I said, the biggest thing is people compare, don't they? They do go, oh, but she's charging this, why aren't I? Or I should be, but I don't feel right. And yeah, I totally agree, because you know, I come from a sales background, and like you said, if you're not confident in what you're charging and the value you're bringing with charging that, then you're never going to sell it anyway, because you know, it's like trying to sell something that you don't believe in. You will never, because the confidence won't come through with you in relation to, or confidence and belief in relation to sales. But I was the same when I got started. It was really weird, because selling online, I was like, I can't sell online, it's really crazy. And I had to write down and go back over, and it's like, I've been selling for like 12 years. And then I wrote down how many sales I'd done and how much I'd earned and what I did. And that really helped me go, well, selling $100, I've sold £1 million houses. Like, this is ridiculous. And yeah, it was putting that connect, because I'd lost that connection between what I was doing and what I was suddenly creating online. But that's a really powerful exercise. I love this because you're so practical. It's really helpful. I love people. I love people that have practical stuff that you can go and straight away do. So
well, that's the thing.
It's really nice.
It's walking your talk. You know, it's like, okay, this is what I've done. This is what, you know, I teach my clients, and they get results. So it's very, very practical, because I think if we teach too much theory and outside the box, like, people don't get it. You know, you have to start somewhere. And that's my whole thing, is like, okay, taking baby steps every day. My thing is, like, you know, when they talk about investing, when you like save a penny every day, over time, the compounded interest, same thing. If we take a baby step every day towards our business, at wherever we are, you know, it's going to grow eventually. And that's why consistency is so important, but taking these steps. So, you know, this is where I'm at, and not being ashamed of it. You know, this is where I'm at. How do I want to get to where I want to be? Well, there's certain things that you just have to do in between, but you'll get there, you know, if you're consistent, if you take the right actions, you know, all of that, and you have confidence. So, you know, it's definitely very practical, but it's doable too. People can actually like do this stuff, you know.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think you combine really well the big vision of kind of where people want to go, but also kind of put it slightly back into reality to go, okay, guys, you want to go here, so let's take you on that journey. And like you said, if it's all aligned, it's so much easier to the direction that you're heading.
Yeah.
And that's why finding your passion in the first place is so powerful, because when it falls into place, like mine's just fallen into place, and the shifts in the last 3 months have been absolutely phenomenal, because I'm finally in my flow of what I love and what I'm doing. And the shift, like, I've had so many people come up to me and go, oh my God, you're flying. And it's like, and yet the last 6 months before that, I wasn't not struggling. I was still earning, and, you know, I still quit work and I still created income, but I wasn't in my flow. It's really different when you're in your flow.
Yeah.
So we're kind of coming up to the last kind of 10 minutes. Is there anything specific you want to share about your After 5 Club, or anything else about what you do, the transitions that you take people through, that you kind of want to talk about while we're on here? I've been kind of asking lots of questions, but is there anything else specific you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, like, kind of final thoughts is like, you know, people think that they can't, you know, people think, oh, I'm too old to do that, or, oh, how am I ever going to get there? Or the journey feels like so far and so big. And I think it's really just like baby steps. You know, any successful person that you talk to, success doesn't happen overnight. You know, sometimes it looks like it does. Some of my mentors, it's funny, they look like they've had success overnight. You know, they're very well known in the media. They're famous, you know, to a certain extent in their industry. And, you know, it's funny, because I had one of my friends being like, oh my gosh, like, your mentor, it happened overnight for her. And I'm like, no, it really didn't. Like, I was with her like when she started, and I was like, she busts her butt, you know, and all she does is take literally consistent action every single day. And it's been years. And that's what, you know, I think it's not comparing yourself to people, like your journey, because your journey is unique. And you have to learn certain things that maybe others don't need to learn. So I think it's like, you know, if you're taking consistent action every day and you're aligning yourself with what you want, you will get there, you know. And the whole After 5 Club, I think it comes down to, you know, not being resentful, not being shameful. You know, you are where you are in your journey. And it's just really empowering women to be really who they really want to be and have that freedom. You know, it doesn't mean quitting your job. Quitting your 9 to 5 is going to give this amazing freedom. You know, I think, and this is what I said in the beginning, I think it's really, you know, I see people see that, you know, oh, I quit the 9 to 5, blah, 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 blah. And then they struggle like, you know, 2 months later. So I think it's really identifying like how you want to feel ultimately. And you can feel it right now, even in your current situation. So it's really identifying like how you want to feel. Is it more freedom? Is it more financial freedom? Is it stability? Is it joy? Is it happiness? You can have all of those feelings right in this moment in your current situation. So it's not grabbing like I was, grabbing at things outside of myself, like handbags and shoes and men and everything. Not grabbing those external circumstances to make you feel that way, because that's only going to give you instant gratification. It's not going to give you ultimate happiness. So it's really going internal and doing the work and being like, okay, what do I really want? How do I really want to feel? And how can I make this happen on a daily basis? Because when you feel a certain way, whether it's joy or happiness in your current situation, you're going to attract all these other things that come to you. So I think it's that. I think it's not like, oh, if I was here, I'd be happy. Like, no, there's no ifs. Like, you can create the kind of life that you want right now. So I think that's really powerful, because I think people are like, oh, when I quit this job, I'll have this, or oh, when I get married, I'll have this, or oh, when I have a baby, I'll have this, or oh, when I lose 20 pounds, I'll be no, it's not about like all these futuristic things. You can feel all those things right now.
I'm just doing all that's just so powerful. I'm like, you had me then. But it's so true. It is so true. It's like you said, the outer stuff, if you work on your inner mindset, like I'm like you, I do mindset training every day. And that's where I've seen the massive shifts this year. I started doing it every morning, and I journal every morning now too. So as soon as I wake up, I do a brain dump. I get it out of my head, whatever's coming to my mind. I don't even read it back. I literally just brain dump, because it clears my head for the day. It's a really powerful tool as well. Journaling in the mornings has made me just so much more actionable and attentive during the day. Mm-hmm. But I think, like you said, the powerful thing is momentum, is just get out there and take action. And like you said, small steps to where you want to go, and things do go. Like you said, opportunities come up. I never was much of a manifestor or a universe believer. I have to say, I was very much in my corporate head, and got to work hard to get paid hard. And now the shift in mindset, like you said, when you start to ask for what you want, and it's just a really powerful journey. I have create the life you really want right now. That's my saying from that for you for the day. Just closing note. I always love to. What's the best way for people to connect with you? Is there anything you want to share with people or anything like that they can get in touch with you for?
Yeah, so the best way, I think people just go to my website, kellylynadams.com. And all my social media, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. All the links are on the website, but I'm under Kelly Lynn Adams under all those platforms. And I do have a Facebook private group for women who are either in the 9-to-5. You don't have to be a 9-to-5er. I mean, it's really open for everyone. And that's the After 5 Club community with the number 5, the After 5 Club community. And there's like a lot of, it's pretty engaging. And right now for this month, I'm going to be giving content away all the time, but I'm giving content away on a daily basis for this month. But it's good. All the women have all different businesses. They're on all different levels. It's really great. So people can kind of find me there on my website, platform, social media platforms, wherever.
Awesome, lovely. And I'll put some links below this video for anyone watching the replay as well, so that they can get in contact with you. And I have to say, don't forget to go and watch her videos, because obviously you have your own TV series as well, don't you? Kelly Lynn Adams TV. So go and watch some of those. Awesome content, amazing value, because I've been watching them over the last few weeks, getting to know Kelly a bit more. So it's been absolutely amazing value. You've shared so many tools, tips and techniques that people can use straight away. But I love your big vision. It is about creating your life today, going inside yourself. It's like, if you want to be happy today. Don't wait for, like you said, something to happen in the future that has to get you there. So very, very powerful. Thank you so much for your time. And I always close with one question, because obviously my vision is all about creating a lifestyle business. Now, I know yours is semi-lifestyle because obviously you are technically in a corporate world, but what is it? I guess, because I know you've had both, and but you're still about envisioning what I love, and that's about creating a life around what you want to do and what you love. So what's one thing that you really love about your life now? And what's maybe one big vision we see for you in the next 3 or 5 years? Where are we going to see Kelly Lynn Adams next?
Yeah. What I love about my life right now, I mean, I really have the freedom. Like, it doesn't sound like it, because, people are like, you're still in a 9-to-5, and then you're, and you have your business. But I really feel like I have the freedom to do whatever I want. So I really love that. And I know that at any point in time I can make the choice. So I really feel free right now. That's what I love. And I can create, what I love is that freedom gets me to create whatever I want, you know, so that's really exciting for me. And I guess the next thing for me, oh my God, there's so many next things. I don't know if I can think one. I mean, I think on a massive level, you know, like I've done some TV. So, you know, TV, maybe, you know, another book, and really getting out there, you know, with my After 5 club and, you know, guiding women as many as I can, with my work. So that's kind of where I see, you know, the big next business vision for me, and lifestyle, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, we're all about passionate growing your business, because I know your business helps people, and that's why you're so passionate about it. You can hear that in you, 100%. In any of your videos, anything that you do, is your passion is there to help women transform themselves. And like you said, and that even might be just up a different career ladder. It could be, like you said, anything to do with that. It's really just about getting back into their dreams and vision of what they want out of their lives. So truly inspiring, awesome. And thanks for all the techniques and things like that to help people get through their blocks. So if you are out there starting to think about things, or you want to make a shift, you know, there are ways to do it, and get around awesome mentors like this. You know, that's one of the things I always encourage, is find yourself a mentor, find yourself someone to work with, or just someone to follow if you're just getting started. Look for people that are doing what you love. And look at what they've done, and just kind of get some ideas. Like you said, bounce, you know, share ideas, think about things, and really dig deep into who you are and what you want to be. So that's so awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate your time. I know it's very valuable. So thanks so much for having you here. And I'll make sure all the connections and links are below the video for anyone watching the replay. And I will see you next week. I have a singer on next, which is going to be absolutely awesome. We're juggling dairy dates, because we were going to be on the 19th, but she's moved it because of something live she's got to do now. So hopefully it's going to be the week later. But she's come out with an amazing CD. She got back into singing after she'd given up her passion. And yeah, but it's all about the power of love and your body and your inner mind. It's just amazing. The music is absolutely amazing. So can't wait to interview Elise next week. So I will see you then. And any questions, if there's anything we've missed, I think I've checked everything. I can't see any live questions. If there are, do post them to me, or get in touch with Kelly direct. I'm sure she'll still love to answer your questions after you've watched this. So thanks so much, everyone, for your time, and we will see you next week. Cheers, guys. Bye.